What if the suspension on a bicycle was not done by dampers, or shock absorbers, or springs, but opposing magnets? Now there's an idea. Okay, and I've got a bit of form when it comes to suspension and bicycles, because a few years ago I made this, the bicycle of springs, where practically the whole bicycle is suspension. And bikes in general, I do like them. I've made jet bikes, I've made bikes that change shape, I've even made a bike which has got ice for wheels. So, I want to use the invisible force of magnetism to act like a spring. Now, this video is sponsored by Insta360 and the amazing AcePro 2 camera. Any footage that is shot on that camera will have this little logo in the corner. And of course, it's Christmas coming up. If you don't know what to buy your dad or any of your family, yes, we have a new limited edition furs hoodie and t-shirt. And as with all my merchandise, it's made from super strong and super durable material. And if you want to get dad something for Christmas, we got socks, because we love socks as dads do. So click the link on screen or the product tag, and you might be lucky enough to catch the last 30 bundle boxes. Right, what about this bike, Colin? Okay, rescued a bike from the scrapyard. It's a woman's bike, but don't worry about it. It's going to get altered. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to put a pivot point on the end of the down tube, also one on the end of the chainstays, and then essentially what this will do is when you stand on the bike, it will want to squeeze the bike together at the top, so our opposing magnets are going to sit up here on the top tube and also set on the seat stays if I can fit them in. Now, before we do any of this, I need to know what forces we're dealing with, because like when Colin's on this bike and there are these gaps and he stands on it and it wants to squeeze together, how much is it squeezing? Because however much it squeezes, we need to repel, if not a little bit more. So I need to make like a bit of a jiggy thing that kind of measures that somehow. Jiggy time! Oh, look at this beautiful contraption. I didn't get an honorary degree in science for nothing. Okay, so the thinking behind this, I don't know how scientific or accurate this is going to be, but essentially pivot here, this is going to mimic the pivot we've got on our bicycle. This is essentially the rear triangle, this is like the front of the bike and then down to like the front axle of the end of the forks, because that's kind of where it levers from. So, I stand on this, it pushes against the scales, therefore giving us a reading, I would hope. Colin's on the bike, and it, oh! 30 kilograms, is that it? I suppose, now you see this is the thing you see, because if it was down here, you'd expect it, because I'm 80 kilograms, so would you expect it to be, look, the closer it gets here, the further down it gets, the heavier it gets. Well, let's check, let's flip it on its side. Right, let's put you a bit further down. I've got to be careful with the scales, they're my next door neighbours. So, and I know you're thinking, Colin, you've dug a whole underground system in the front garden, surely breaking his scales is not going to be an issue. This could be the straw that breaks it. Right, let's go halfway down. So if it's 30 here, oh, yeah, this has got, that's 50, I think. No, 45. 45, so we have 45 kilos here. So we have got heavier, so I'm guessing, right down the bottom, there we go. Yeah, 70. So of course we're near the 80 of what's maybe the maximum it can be. Now of course the only thing we need to consider now is when you go over a bump or a jump, you've got a bit of inertia there, so it's probably going to do more. Okay, so 35 kilos, bare minimum, is what we need to be repelling. Now, I remember ages ago I did buy some big magnets, so fingers crossed these do the job. Right, got these two disc ones. I can sort of push them together. I don't know what I've got these for, by the way, but anyway. Now, these are made of iron. These aren't that strong, but I've also got these rectangular neodymium ones. Now, I can tell these are more powerful, because even in the packets, they don't want to be anywhere near each other. But me saying that doesn't really help, and we don't know what they're repelling, so we need a little testing rig. This, the magnet pushback tester. Ooh, pushback. Okay, so in the bottom we've got a magnet with its north side facing up, and then screwed to the bottom of this bit of wood we have a magnet with the north side facing down. So when you put this in here, it's a loose fit and let go, it bounces on its magnetic repulsion. Look at that, look. Interesting. We get this bucket, put that on there, and then we can fill it up with water, and then once we get down to, I think, like a 30 or 40 ml gap, we'll know how many litres of water, litre of water, kilogram of weight, we can see how much repulsive power it has. 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 3 kilo. Got a little mark, look down here when it gets to 30 mil. 4 kilo, 5 kilo, 6 kilo. Oh, one more. 7. So about 8 kilos. Not very impressed with that, if I'm honest with you. I thought it'd be a bit more. So I either need a bigger, more powerful magnet, or I'm going to need a lot of magnets. Either way, this is going to get expensive. Sponsor time! Right, AcePro 2, here we go. The AcePro 2 is a rugged and hard-wearing camera. But it's not just an action camera, it gets beautiful, crisp shots in any condition. Its super long battery life means you can run time lapses for hours. It's packed with different lighting profiles to give a range of colour effects. But it's not just about the camera, there is some fantastic add-ons you can now get. There's a wireless microphone. Testing. So you can still capture audio from a distance. Right, I think if we get this level across here. There's replaceable lens covers should you damage the lens. And now there's an extra wide-angle lens cover to give you an even wider shot. And so you can hold the AcePro 2 like a traditional camera. There's the Explorer grip, which makes it feel like an SLR in your hand. There's even a click-on printer, so you can take pictures and print them out instantly. And now the AcePro 2 comes in this beautiful white, but maybe this is not the job for that. You've got slow motion at 4K 120 or 1080 240, and it has class-leading low-light performance.
Look at that, look, you can still film with this camera in this level of light.
So get yourself an AcePro 2 for Christmas at the link in the description, and the first 30 orders will get 16% off and a free Mic Air wireless microphone completely free. Right, magnets, Colin. Now, while you lot been messing around with AcePro cameras, I've been stripping the bike naked because I've got pivot points and magnets to fit on this thing. So I've shaved a bit off some 70mm bar, I've whacked it in the lathe, I've turned it down, and I'm pressing some bearing shells into it. Then I got my beautiful tube notcher, clamped it to the down tube, and drilled myself out a slot in the down tube of which to fix my beautifully lathed bearing holder. Oh, by the way, you see all them slots? I milled them in there so you can get a drift in the back to push the bearing shells out from the rear, because if you don't do that, they'll be stuck in there forever, and that's the sort of thing that'll keep me up at night. Then, clean the paint off, weld it up close up, weld it up from further away. And then also, I've added this little gusset for a little bit of extra strength. Cut away the down tube. Ooh, that looks weird. Plasma cut a plate out, bend it in the vise, tube notch a new down tube, which hopefully is a little bit stronger, and then assemble.
Why don't you care?
Then once it's all welded up, you can remove the top tube.
Oh no, my bicycle!
Okay. Now, I use taper bearings down here on this bearing because the key thing with this is when the magnets are set up here, they don't want to go against each other. They're going to want to kind of push side to side. So if there's any slack in that joint, the whole thing would kind of be all a bit wonky. We don't want that. It would feel terrible and it would also be terrible. Whereas, of course, with taper bearings, the more we tighten it up, the more they push themselves together. They take up all their own slack. Lovely. Now, before we set up the magnets, obviously, we need our better magnets. Oh, Colin's been online and found some. Yeah, so a bit of internet searching, I found this website called MagnetStore. And look at this bad boy. 50 by 50 by 50. This has got 208 kilos of pulling force. Surely that's got to do the trick. Okay, they have arrived. Now I know already that these magnets are strong because if I turn the box up, they will take screws out of my hand and stick onto them. Now there are 2 of them in here. Right, you sit in there. I've took my phone and everything out of my pocket because it would destroy electrical items. Okay, now I've bambooed up myself some more 3D prints so I can lock these onto the end of my pushback tester. Then we can see how much more powerful they are. So I very cautiously got them out of their boxes and fixed them onto the end of the pushback tester. And I could tell even trying to put the screws in, these were powerful magnets. Which of course immediately meant I wanted to try and stick it to something. So having got a bunch of tools stuck to the magnet, I did think of a potential useful application for this strength. Yes, stick one to the bottom of your bolt tray and you ain't spilling them anymore. However...
Oh, I can't get them off now.
I can't get it off my grips. I can't get it off. Oh, I got it. Be careful with these, Colin. Don't let them get stuck to anything. I then steadily lowered them together. Now, I wasn't sure if I'd got them the right way round, so these could snap together and I never get them apart again, but luckily enough, I got it right. And yes,
they were definitely harder to push together. So much so that I sat on it and I broke my plate.
Oh! Go on, Chubby. I mean, I can. They're definitely stronger.
Just like the right wing. So these are just more of the things that I...
Okay, tub's full. It's just above the mark. This is about 15 to 16 litres. That is half what we need. I say get 2 magnets, put them side by side on the bike. Let's see if that works. Get on with it, Colin. Okay, my bike has transitioned from a woman to a man, very 2025. Now, I know what you're thinking, Colin, why didn't you put that on in one piece and cut it afterwards? I don't know, all right, just stop going on about it. It was a mistake. It would have been easier to do that. Now, these are the magnets, or these are mimic magnets. These are going to have to sit up here. I have made this little jig, which I've cut out, so we can see where the magnets are, what angles I have to cut this tube at. Very nice, Colin. So I'm just going to put a little 6mm plate on the back that they screw to, and I'm going to make it so potentially we can stack them, because I said I think we're probably going to need 2 each side, 4. I'll put them a bit higher, because as we know, the higher up you go, the less force they encounter. So there'll probably one there, one there, one there, one there. I'm just going to do these 2 first, because I am. Yeah, I forgot what I'm saying there. Right, get on with it.
Now, with the jig clamped to the frame, I could mark it up, and then I got a hacksaw, old school I know, and cut the pieces out that we didn't need. I then made this little tab with captive nuts on the end, welded that into the frame, and then got my 6mm magnet backplate and bolted them to this. Now, I've made these separate plates because if I want to reposition the magnets, I just cut out different plates. So with these fixed on, I checked the position of them. They seem to like they're going to touch and come together properly. Very nice. So then I got my super strong magnets, carefully put them into their clamps, even though they wanted to constantly stick to the nuts. And then I put them to the frame. They snapped in there. Oh, you can tell there's a lot of power. This bit of wood I put in the back to protect them could barely get it out. Bolted them down and then fixed the second magnet, making sure it was well out of the way of the first one, and then ready to test. We slowly brought the 2 together until we could feel them bouncing on their own repulsion.
It kind of...
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah!
I then got on the bike.
It does work, yeah. It actually feels like real suspension. Okay, this is good. I'm excited about this. Now, of course, if I put my full weight on it and jump, they will touch each other. So I'm going to take these 2 off, change these plates to ones that can accept 2 magnets, and then we'll see where we're at after that.
So, I undid the bolts, holding the magnets on, fighting the magnetic forces, and tried to slide the magnets off the bike. This was quite tricky.
Jeebus, I'm not making this up. It's that hard to take these off.
Then removed the single magnet plate and swapped them for a double magnet plate.
Is this going to be any better? Let's move you. This is my little jig to stop it from... Yes, we are okay. They are still repelling. This is working. They won't touch each other. You can get them about 10mm apart. 10mm gap. So, I think what we'll do, we'll review the mounting process because I think it looks a bit weird. But before I do that, last experiment, just want to try and do the rear triangle and then we'll see where we're going. Okay, we've got a rideable bicycle. I've ridden it, and it's rubbish. Right, long story short, the magnets touch each other, and we've got no suspension. We've got a list of problems, and let's go through them. First off, it's rubbish. We've got frame twist, essentially. This seat tube, because it's not part of the frame anymore, it just sticks out from the top. When these magnets come to it, they're kind of pushing it to the side, and they can, because it's this tubing that this bike was made of, rubbish, thin as anything, and you can see it moves to the side. That is hampering performance. Magnets need to be higher. Now you may notice with these ones, or you may not notice, I've actually moved them down a little bit so they look a little bit more in line with the frame. Now I did this for aesthetical reasons, but performance wise it has had an effect. Yes, just moving it down like 50mm or whatever it must have been, maybe even less than that, 40. They don't work as well anymore. They certainly don't, because when I stood over there, I could feel it, and I couldn't seem to get them to touch very easily. Whereas this thing just touches itself all the time. So I think we need to put them back up there, or as one of my other things, is joint placement. Now, lifting the magnets up or lowering this joint, effectively the distance between the magnets and the joint is what is affecting performance. So the wider apart we can get them, as we know from our little next door neighbour scales test, the higher up it went, the less force it needed. So if we can get these joints lower, the magnets higher, we're on to a winner. It's hard to pick up. If you go pick it up like a normal bike, it just goes and falls to bits. I mean, we don't need to worry about that too much in a minute. Oh, and the wedge broke. There was a little 3D printed wedge which I put on here because when I first made it, this angle wasn't right. So I made a 3D printed wedge as like a little bit of a quick fixer. That was okay, but it's not strong enough and the magnets literally just tore the fixings out of it and snapped shut. Because, you know, these things are strong. It's easy to forget how much power there is in this. And it kind of got me thinking, actually, digressing slightly here. You put a piece of metal to this, or you're trying to work on it on the bench, and everything sticks to it, and it's like dung, dung, and it's like you can feel the force. But then you get a piece of wood, doesn't care about it. And it kind of got me thinking, like, what forces and things do we just not know about? Because we even haven't put the right stuff near them. We just don't know. Because if you were a wooden society...
A wooden society? What?
You wouldn't know anything about magnetism, would you? What don't we know about? Anyway, Colin, shut up. Right, now, before I correct all these issues, I'm just going to put these back up here on the bits of metal. Oh, that was a pro. I've put them on aluminium plates, so they're easier to get on and off. Because when you put them on the 6mm bit of steel, which I had them on, you couldn't get them off very easy because they're stuck to the bit of metal. So I've made aluminium bits, which has made it slightly easier to work on. I say slightly easier. Right, I'm going to put these back up there, although I don't know if that's going to make much difference because the seat post is still going to go, but I'm going to do it anyway. And the results of that are... nope.
So I've still got way too much frame flex, and before we go designing a new one or doing anything, I need to get this sorted so I know what direction I'm going in. I guess basically what I did wrong here is I changed too many things at the same time, and then of course you don't know which one has caused you the problems.
Look at this fool, look, thinking he can replace us with magnets. You can't replace springs with magnets. It's a stupid idea. Never works. Why, nobody's ever done it before.
Oh, this feels better already. It just needed a little bit of support.
It's working!
Oh yes! I'll see some success in this project. Excellent. Now, let's call this Mark 1, and I think we'll make another bike and learn from the mistakes which we've incorporated into this one, and I think we'll tidy the magnets up, because having loads of magnets, yes, it's fantastic, it makes it work better, but aesthetically, it looks terrible. So I'm thinking we need some bigger, singular magnets. So these 50mm cube ones, these have got 200 kilograms of pulling force, but I thought they must do stronger ones than this. So I rang them up and said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you get any bigger ones? And they said yes. Okay, so the guys at MagnetStore have made me this. This has 500 kilos of pulling force, and we're going to double stack them. So it is two side, well, top to bottom, whatever you want, on top of each other. So it has got a lot of pulling force. Now, these I've kind of got a bit blasé with the other ones. I can deal with it. I've got them stuck to stuff. I can pull them off. This thing pulled itself out of my hand and locked itself to the bench over there. Nearly trapped a bit of my skin in between it if I had kept hold of it. And it was a complete nightmare to try and get it off, sticking in wooden wedges and everything. So I think we will make a bike, a bespoke bike for these to go in. And I'm going to make it out of stainless steel because, of course, stainless steel is not magnetic, so I can actually get these in the bike without it locking to the bike and me not being able to do much to it. I think just sit back and relax, get yourself a nice cup of tea. Let's have a beautiful bike building montage, Colin.
I'm a marionette. She pulls all my strings, then she cuts the ties. When she gets bored of me, I was carved from wood with love, detail attentive. Then she threw me in a box, 'cause now she prefers plastic. She doesn't get it, she thinks she can retie the quickly. Then she runs back to her plastic dolls. I never speak a word as I sink into the ground. When someone shows me their interest, she always comes back around. She doesn't get it. She thinks she can retie the strings at her nearest convenience. I'd fall back into it. I'd twist myself into knots. She hopes I'll never learn. She's only nice to receive. I do it because I love her. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. She will never get it. She thinks she can retie my strings at her nearest convenience. I fall back into it. She throws me to the ground 'cause I finally learned they all come to see the marionette, not her.
Oh yeah, check this out. How awesome is that? This thing works an absolute treat. Now, of course, it is all stickered up in the first logos, beautiful, like the new tees and hoodies. Now, I've moved the magnets at the front forwards a bit more. This is mainly for filming, because when they were up here, my legs were constantly covering them up, and we couldn't see them without filming me in a leg. I don't want that, so I've put them up there. Hopefully that won't have a negative impact. We've made this thing out of thicker stainless steel tubes, so we don't have any of the flexing issues that the original one had. And I've put these little cables down here, look, so I can pick it up and the bike doesn't fall apart. The only thing is when you're moving it, it sucks the keys out of your pocket and they stick to the magnets. But I can deal with that. Right, let's go and give this a test.
Oh, such a cool truck, such a cool truck. Right, here we go. Oh, it's tall. Right, here we go. Oh yes! This one works! We've got a bicycle with magnet suspension. Look at it just bobbing along, look. Oh, that is sweet. Oh yes, this thing is finally working. This is smooth. It feels good.
So I took it for a longer ride and it just glides along. On slightly rougher ground you can see the magnets soaking up all the little imperfections in the ground. But this is still pretty flat, Colin.
Never felt it.
So I took it down these long steps and it coped with this very well, but I could tell I was near the limit.
That's an experience.
So I thought I'll take it to a pump track and give it some prolonged pressure.
Oh, it can't deal with that. That's too much for it. That's too much. I think I may have bent something.
I think I may have stretched the joint somehow. Have I bent it or? Oops!
We have found its limit. Okay, for everyday riding, this is absolutely fantastic, really smooth, but of course we've only got to give it just a tiny bit more abuse and it starts crying for help. But it's not the magnets that are failing us, it's the joints, it's the frame. Basically, we're asking too much of it for this distance from these joints to be able to hold themselves in position. Now, you may ask, why have you done it like this, Colin? Well, two reasons really. One is the old YouTube thumbnail, the thing that's more important than the video these days, is these gaps. They look really cool, and some of you might be watching this video because you saw the gaps in the bike and thought, hello, what's going on here? And also, I wanted there to be absolutely no doubt that the suspension was working off the magnets and there wasn't any sneaky springs somewhere. But while I think there's another project in this, there's a Mark II. So we need to think about this. How can we do this any different? Now, we could put support rails and stuff, or we could have even a central shaft running through the middle of the magnet. But again, I quite like this setup where you see the gap. So ideas in the comments, maintain the gap, make it work better. How can we do it? Right, thanks to MagnetStore for making the bespoke magnets. Very nice. I might need you again sometime. Of course, subscribe if you haven't, because why wouldn't you? And of course, don't forget the merch, the t-shirts, the hoodies coming into winter. You might need a jumper, might you? Yeah. Right, I'll see you in the next one. Magnet Bye.